So, as we said there in the introduction, a normal, healthy boy, straight-A student.
Perfectly fit, normal, healthy, functioning child up until autumn of 2013.
So what happened?
For nothing really to necessarily have any alarm bells going. He was going through his grammar school exams at the time, and his anxiety levels increased, and he developed a few neck and head tics, which we put down to, and the GP put down to exam stress. And then in February 2014, the 21st, was Friday night, we put him to bed, and he woke up the next morning unable to sit or lie on a bed or a seat because of the body contortions that he was having.
So of course you rushed him to the doctors. And then at what stage, what happened then?
We were taken into hospital. He progressively got worse over the course of that weekend. Hallucinations started to appear. The pain in his head, just a general decline in his ability to function. Life ground to a halt that weekend. It was just such a shock to the system. We were taken into hospital, and he was diagnosed with rapid onset Tourette's syndrome. We were in hospital for the evening, and the next day when they were discharging us with a referral to CAMS, the community team, the nurse came back to say, no, you can't go yet. We've just had some of Cameron's blood results back, and his strep levels are extremely high. They're the ASO titers. That's what indicates that there has been a strep infection at some point in the body. And it was at that point the doctor said to us, we're diagnosing Cameron with a condition called PANDAS. And that was the very first time. That was the 28th of February, 7 days later. And I have to say, when we went home, of course, the first thing you do is Google. And when we started to read up on it, it all made sense. The symptoms all made sense. But the next 3 weeks were just horrendous, because he would have been up all night just screaming, either with the pain in his head or screaming. His hallucinations got very bad. Adolf Hitler, Colonel Makarov, they would have been waiting outside the window, and they would have been coming into the living room, and they were stabbing him, or they were shooting him, or they were telling him that he couldn't talk to us because they would kill him. And then he was acting this out because he really thought that they were in the room.
So he's got violence towards you without knowing what
he got very violent toward us. The symptoms were coming and going very rapidly. There was new symptoms appearing daily. It culminated in my mum and myself wrestling a bread knife from his throat one night in the kitchen, and that was a bad night. It seemed to correlate with the pressure that his brain was under. If his brain had been asked to do too much that day, then he would deteriorate in the evening, and that's still 3 years on where we are. We have learned to manage it much better now. So if he does too much, Cameron needs to live as much of a normal life as possible. So if he's been out that day with his friends, if he's been playing football, he will be very sore when he comes in that night, and potentially he'll go downhill.
Well, at its worst, it is, and we can't show all of this because it is so traumatic.
It's too distressing, and the videos that I've provided are the least distressing that we have.
Yes. So we've got some of the footage here. So what is it? What sort of this is a typical.
These are the body contortions. These would be what would be known as complex tics. The basic motor tics are just maybe a head twitch or an arm twitch, where one muscle group is involved. The complex motor tics are where there's several muscle groups involved.
For you, what bothers you the most about it, Cam? Is it the fact that you can't go to school?
Probably, yeah. The fact that I can't go to school and I can't join in all the classes and all the sports.
Yeah. And do you remember when because you're in? We were talking to your mum a moment ago, and it does go in dips, and if you get a bug, it can get very much worse. You're in a nice, sort of good state at the moment. Can you remember what happens when it's at its worst?
I I can't really remember at the moment, no. I haven't been at its worst in a while. But when I do catch like a cold and a bug, it affects me a whole lot differently. Last year I caught glandular fever, and I was off school for over 4 weeks.
Exorcist syndrome is something our neurologist from New Jersey in USA, we're under Dr. Schifaletti, and exorcist syndrome would be for an acute severe crisis. It's most common in juveniles, it's most common in Cameron's age, and I think although it's not a nice term, unfortunately it's an accurate term of what that acute crisis is like when it happens.
And for you, let's hope that one day somebody gets to the bottom of this and,
Thank you very much.
and you can do all the things you want to do.
Exactly, Cam.
There's more
Yeah.
families coming behind us, and we have to make some sort of positive legacy.
It's talking about
you
it,
know,
isn't it?
The big thing at the minute is anorexia. There's children suffering greatly with anorexia linked to the pandas as well. That's where the new research is happening. But in our own area, there's new families being diagnosed all the time. So we want to try and get some sort of support network set up for them.
For more of the same, just click here.
But when you meet these guys, it's the O in OCD that really matters, the obsessive thoughts and intrusive thoughts that you don't actually want. I don't have that, and my family don't have that. We just have habits that we have to touch things a certain amount of times.
Well, a lot of yours are for good luck, aren't they?
Yeah, for good luck.